Welcome back. All right, so we got 13 games. At one point tonight, there were 10 games on at the same time. I had 6 I was tracking on the TV. I had 4 on my computer, which meant my computer's bandwidth, well, my internet's bandwidth was like, are you kidding? So I did what I could. I watched what I could. I got as much on the board as I could and got caught up on the goals by the time everything was done. So let's go ahead and start things off with the New York Islanders and the Buffalo Sabres. A game which it feels like started yesterday. So it's Varlamov versus Comrie in this one. At 15 seconds, the Sabres get a power play. Dahlin has a shot that's held. That's killed off. The Sabres press after it's done. They're kept to the outside. Shots are 4-1 for the Sabres at 4.5 minutes. Peterka has a net drive that's defended. The Islanders press. They're kept away from the net, though. We get a power play for the New York Islanders. Nelson's denied. Then there's some pushing. We get 37 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off, and then the Islanders go back to the power play because this is how things are. Good penalty kill by the Sabres does kill that off. Lee's then denied on a rebound and close. There's a net feed to Peterka. That's blocked. Sabres press with 2 minutes left. And after the first period, it's scoreless. Second period, early jump for the Islanders. They don't get shots out of it, though. Olofsson has a shot kicked aside. Krebs had a net feed. That's blocked. The Sabres press at 5.5 minutes. Cousins has a rush chance. That's blocked. Sabres press 9 minutes in. We then get a power play for the Islanders. Comrie's the reason this is scoreless. It becomes 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off there. The Islanders press. Again, they can't get to the net. Power has a shot that's tipped wide, and then on a turnover, Skinner scores from Mittelstadt at 16:37. The Sabres are ahead. The Islanders press in a final minute, but the puck goes the other way. Samuelsson would score through a screen. Mittelstadt and Skinner with the assists at 19:23. All of a sudden, it's 2-0 for the Sabres. Things get punchy with 3.8 seconds left. The Sabres come out of that with a power play. So in the third period, they struggle to set up that power play to start the period. Islanders do finish the kill, but not long after it's done at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Cousins makes it 3-0. Dahlin and Greenway with the assists. Buries it into an open net. Cousins was wide open there. Sabres then look for another. The shots are 12-6 in their favor with 4 minutes left. There was only one question left. Peterka has a net drive that's saved. The Islanders press with 1.5 minutes left, and eventually they score. Dobson gets a goal from Barzal and Horvat at 18:39, but that is as close as the Islanders get. Your final score is 3-1 for the Sabres. They go to 2-3 with the victory. The Islanders 2-1-1 with the loss. Shots on net 14-7 Buffalo in the first, 17-9 Buffalo in the second, 12-9 Buffalo in the third. Final shots 43-25 for the Sabres. Power plays, both teams 0 for 3. The hits 39-16 for the Islanders, so the hitting's picking up. Varlamov saves 40 out of 43. Comrie saved 24 out of 25. He looked good. So Comrie gets into the net. Looks pretty good, so if Levi needs a couple of games off because he's banged up, shouldn't be a problem. All right, next up, Vancouver and Florida. So this was a game that went back and forth, and in the end, the Canucks, they pull out a victory. They really needed this, too, with the way the last couple of games have gone. So it's DeSmith versus Bobrovsky. The Panthers get a power play 31 seconds in, so that's similar to the start against Tampa, where Tampa gets a power play in the opening minutes. Rodriguez is denied. It's cleared. There's a shorthanded chance for DiGiuseppe. That's held. The power play is killed off. Canucks press after the kill's done, but the shots on net are 6-2 for Florida 5 minutes in. Lomberg has a rush chance that's saved. The Canucks press. Myers has a shot that's blocked. We get a power play for the Canucks. Hughes has a shot that's blocked, but there's a failed clear, and eventually Vancouver scores. And it's Quinn Hughes with his first goal of the season. Miller and Pettersson with the assists at 11:07. So that had to make him feel good, but that feeling only lasts 22 seconds as Barkov scores on a rush from Rodriguez and Forsling at 11:29. Canucks look to respond. Things get punchy on a hold by Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky then turns it over. He gets bailed out by his defense. The Panthers press with 3.5 minutes left, but after the first period, it is 1-1. Second period, good early back and forth. The shots on net are 3-1 for Florida at 5 minutes. Hughes has a shot that's blocked. Things get pushy on a hold from Bobrovsky. We get a power play for the Canucks. Miller has a slot shot that's saved and cleared. And then Soucy scores a power play goal at 10:41 from Garland. Things then get pushy on a hold by DeSmith. I didn't track in this one how many times Tkachuk's involved like I did with his brother for the Ottawa game earlier today. Then at 11:15, Pettersson scores from Kuzmenko and Mikheyev. We then get a power play for the Panthers. That's killed off. So after 2 periods, it's 3-1 Vancouver in Florida. Third period, Mikheyev's denied and close, and at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, Florida gets one back. It's Reinhart from Rodriguez and Barkov. The Canucks look to answer. They get a power play. That's killed off by Florida. Big kill there. The fans call one. The referee doesn't. But the momentum is on Florida's side, and you could just feel it coming, and eventually it happens. Reinhart scores to tie it from Rodriguez and Mahura at 14:01. So Rodriguez fitting in pretty well with 3 helpers tonight, but it doesn't stay tied for long. At 15:03, Kuzmenko, he outweights Bobrovsky and puts it in. DiGiuseppe and Miller with the assist. That was only the 3rd shot of the period for Vancouver. Economical shots there. With 2:22 left, the goalie gets pulled, and that allows Besser to hit the empty net at 17:50. So Brock Besser with his 6th of the season, and Vancouver wins 5-3. They go to 3-2 with the victory. The Florida Panthers drop to 2-3 with the loss. The shots on net, 15-11 Vancouver in the first, 12-6 Vancouver in the second, 19-4 Florida in the third. Final shots, 36-31 for the Panthers. Power plays, Vancouver 2 for 3, Florida 0 for 2. Hits, 22-16 for Florida. DeSmith saved 34-36. He was fantastic. Bobrovsky saves 26 out of 30. So, yeah, Vancouver gets a big win on the road. Now, next up, Washington and the Montreal Canadiens. Now, if you watch the preview, and I mean the actual preview this morning, not the Batman phone call one last night, but I said I was thinking about wearing Montreal, but, I had a perfect record to worry about. Well, I've still got a perfect record with the jerseys I wear for the preview videos, but I should have worn Montreal. Would have looked smart. Anyways, it's Kemper versus Allen in this one. Good early flow. There's some hitting going on. There was a post for Pizzetta on a turnover. Slavkovsky has a net drive. That's defended. We get a power play for Washington. Strome took a puck to the jaw during that. He was okay, though. The power play's killed off. The shots were 3-0 in favor of Washington at 8 minutes. Ovechkin did have one of those shots, so he does not get held off the score sheet when it comes to shots, but he did not get a goal tonight. He's now 8 games without a goal. So Caulfield has a rush chance. That's saved. We get a power play for Washington. That's killed off. And then Montreal clears it after. The Caps press with 2 minutes left. With 1:31 left, the Habs get a power play, and they score on it. It is Monahan from Suzuki and Caulfield at 18:55. Good cycle by Montreal, and they bury it. So it's 1-0 Montreal after 1. Second period. Early press by the Habs. Teams exchange turnovers. Suzuki's denied. The Habs press. Jack-Eye had a shot that deflects out. Caps press. They're kept to the outside. They then earn themselves a power play. Montreal kills that off. Caulfield fires one wide from the slot, and then Gallagher. Gallagher scores at 9:50 from Monahan and Pearson. So Pearson on the board with an assist. He's fitting in pretty well, and it's 2-0 Montreal. Caps press with 8.5 minutes left. Carlson's stick died on a blast that he was trying. Anderson has a rush chance. That's defended. There's a press by the Caps with 6 minutes left, and with 58.1 seconds left, Caps get a power play. Down by 2, they need a goal. So that rolls over into the third period, where the Habs finish the kill. Good penalty kill by the Habs tonight. Anderson's denied on a rush, and this is where things get bonkers. So there's a power play for the Habs. It's killed off. There's a crossbar for Strome. The Habs rush. The Habs go back to the power play, and then they get another power play. We had 1 minute and 4 seconds of 5-on-3 after they'd already had a 5-on-3 during all the overlapping craziness. Then it becomes a 4-on-4. It's just a full-on parade. Everything gets killed off. And then it's an open net for Dylan Strome to bury it into. Ovechkin and Phillips with the assists at 11:25. It was a great pass by Ovechkin. Everybody went to him. Then we get a power play for the Habs, and it's killed off, because of course it is. Caps press with 2.5 minutes left, and eventually it's Strome at 17:59 from Kuznetsov and Carlson. And then the Caps look for the lead. They don't get it, but they do earn a point, and they go to overtime. In the overtime, the Habs controlled early. Kuznetsov steals it, rushes, but he doesn't get to the net. The Habs get it back, and at 47 seconds, Caulfield wires it on a rush. Suzuki and Matheson with the assists. Montreal wins this one 3-2. Montreal goes to 2-1-1 with the victory. Washington 1-2-1 with the overtime loss. Shots on net, 12-6 Washington in the first, 12 apiece in the second, 9 apiece in the third, and Montreal gets the only shot of the overtime. Final shots, 33-28 for Washington. Power plays, Washington 0 for 5, Montreal 1 for 6. Hits, 14 each. Kemper saves 25 out of 28. Jake Allen, another good start for him. 31 saves on 33 shots. All right, next up, last one on this board is Toronto and Tampa, and this was crazy. So, Samsonov versus Johansson. Don't get attached to Samsonov. Tavares fires one wide on a rush. The Leafs had the only shot on net at 3.5 minutes. Hedman fires one wide from the slot, and then Nylander opens the scoring for Toronto. Tavares and Liljegren with the assists at 4:15. It was a nice play by Tavares that kept the play alive, and he ends up getting the primary assist on the goal. Leafs press for another. Matthews had a rush chance, that's held. But we get a power play for Tampa, and they score on it because it's Tampa Bay. Kucherov from point and Hedman at 6:26. It's a one-timer from his spot. Kucherov's got his spot, and he scores from there. Power play for Toronto, that's killed off. And then Barré-Boulet, he scores from Kucherov and point at 10:04. He tips that one in close. That's only the third shot on net, and it's the second goal. Bolts then get another power play. They score on this one as well on their first shot. Kucherov from Sergachev and Stamkos at 13:29. He fires that one over the glove, and that ended the night for Samsonov. Wall is in the net. Bolts press with 5 minutes left. With 1:56 left, the Leafs get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded chance for Hagel, where he's denied. But after the first period, it's 3-1 for Tampa. And really, it looks like, Tampa's up 2 goals after the first. That's pretty safe. Second period. Power play for Tampa. We get 26 seconds of 5-on-3, but that's killed off just the 2 shots. So good penalty killing there. Shots are 4-3 for the Tampa Bay Lightning at 7.5 minutes. Leafs press. They're kept to the outside. Marner has a shot. That's tipped wide. Bolts press, but they're kept away from the net during that. Strong forechecking by the Bolts, by their fourth line. That's what the fourth line's there for, is a strong forecheck. Bolts press with 3 minutes left. Sergachev has a shot. That's held. Bertuzzi then had a rush chance. That was defended. Doesn't get to the net. And so it's still 3-1 after 2. So again, it looks safe, right? Third period. Giordano had a 3-on-1 chance. That saved. The Leafs are leaning on their top players, really giving a lot of shifts to the top guys. That's what you do when you're down by 2, right? Shots are 7-4 Leafs at 6.5 minutes. Cirelli's denied on a rush. And then Matthew Knies, his first National Hockey League regular season goal. He did have one in the playoffs. Domi with the assist at 12 minutes and 11 seconds. So that's scored on a rush right after Cirelli was denied. So Wall kind of helping to turn the momentum. And then at 14:33, Knies scores the second of the period. Domi and Camp with the assists. So suddenly we're looking at a tie game. The Bolts did press to answer, but we end up going to overtime. In the overtime, Leafs control early. Matthews couldn't bury one. Domi has a net drive. That's held. Matthews misses one high. The teams trade rushes. Marner's denied. And then it's Tavares at 4:05. It took a while to figure out whether it was Tavares or Nylander's goal. But it's Tavares from Nylander and Klingberg. He tips it in. It's a 2-on-1 that leads to the goal. Toronto, big comeback. They win 4-3 in overtime. They go to 3-2 with the win. The Lightning 2-2 with the loss in overtime. Shots on net, 17-9 Tampa Bay in the first, 12-10, or 17-9 Toronto in the first, 12-10 Tampa Bay in the second, 20-12 Toronto in the third, and they had all 5 shots in the overtime. The final shots, 52-33 for Toronto. Power plays, Toronto goes 0 for 2, Tampa Bay goes 2 for 4. The hits, each team had 10. Wall saved all 29 shots after Samsonov allowed 3 goals on 4 shots. I'll go out on a limb and say Wall plays the next game. Sure. And then Johansson saved 48 out of 52. So good night for Johansson. This isn't one that you can look at and say, if they had Vasi, they would have won it. I don't know if they would have or not, but yeah, 48 saves on 52 shots. I'm not going to say anything negative about Johansson. And now I need to change boards. So when I'm tracking all these games, all I can say is it's easier when they're low-scoring games. When there's a lot of scoring and everything's bonkers, and it was kind of bonkers. So we're going to talk about Vegas and Chicago. Home opener for Chicago. I think if you're a Hawks fan, you have to be kind of happy with what you saw tonight. You'd prefer a win, but what are you going to do? So it's Hill versus Soderblom in this one. There were too many Vegas Golden Knights on the ice, so the Hawks get an early power play, and they score on it. It's Bedard. Great shot by Bedard. It's the second NHL goal. It's his first at home. It's his first power play goal. Perry with the assist at 1:30 seconds. Perry, his scoring totals are pretty good. Early in the power play, first shot is in the net. Vegas then gets a power play of their own. They score as well. At 4 minutes and 5 seconds, it's Carlson from Cotter and Korzak. Vegas then goes back to the power play. That leads to a shorthanded chance for Reese Johnson. That's blocked. They do kill that off, though. The shots are 4 apiece at 9.5 minutes. Carlson has a rush chance. That's saved with 3:51 left. Vegas gets their third power play. We then end up with 29 seconds of 4-on-4. Bedard fires one high. They cycle. Hall has a shot that's held, but then with 8.7 seconds left, Vegas gets their 4th power play of the game. They only had 5 in the entire game, but there's the 4th right there, and it's still in the first period. So, second period, there's an early cycle by Vegas with the power play, but the Hawks finish the kill, and it stays tied until Vegas gets the lead. Marchessault, it kind of trickles in. It was a good zone entry by Marchessault. Eichel and Theodore get the assists at 7.5 minutes. Vegas presses for another. Vegas got away with the too many men as well during this stretch of play. We get a post for Donato. They press, and then Reese Johnson scores from Murphy and Donato at 8:50. So Donato hits the post, but they end up scoring anyways. So that makes it 2-2. We get a power play for Chicago. That's killed off. The Hawks press after. Vegas presses with a minute and a half left, but it's tied 2-2 going into the third. Again, it's the Hawks. They're against the defending Stanley Cup champions. They're coming off a 4-game road trip. I think that's about what you have to be happy with as a Hawks fan, right? So third period, Hall returns for the third. He'd gotten hurt earlier in the game. But 13 seconds into the period, Roy puts Vegas ahead. He scores from Colasar and McNabb, and of course it's on a rush because it's only 13 seconds into the period. Vegas presses for another. Eichel has a rush chance, that's saved. Cotter was denied as Vegas presses. Radish with a net drive, that's held. We get a power play for Chicago. Bedard has a shot that's blocked, that was killed off. The Hawks go back to the power play, it's killed off again. So Vegas adds one. It's Stone from Amadio and Stevenson at 13:47. He buries that one on a wraparound. Vegas then gets a power play, and they score on it at 16:09. It is Cotter from Amadio and Martinez. To their credit, Chicago does score before the game's out. It is Perry from Foligno and Korchinski at 18:45. So that's the second assist for Korchinski. For Perry, it's a goal to go with his assist, and it makes it a little closer. Your final score is 5-3 for the Vegas Golden Knights, who are 6-0. For Chicago, they're 2-4 on the season. The shots on net, 9-6 Vegas in the first, 8-6 Chicago in the second, 10-9 Chicago in the third. Final shots, both teams had 24 shots. Power plays, Vegas 2 for 5, Chicago 1 for 5. The hits, 21-16 Vegas. Hill, 21 saves on 24 shots. Soderblom, 19 saves on 24 shots. But highly entertaining. All right, next up, Philadelphia and Dallas. I'm torn on this one. So as a Dallas fan, of course, I like the result. They didn't deserve it. So anyways, I'm just being honest. It's Ersson versus Wedgwood. The shots were one apiece at a minute and a half. Lindell has a net feed that tips high. And then Johnston buries one on a turnover. Jamie Benn with the assist at 4:06. It's 1-0 Dallas. Flyers look to respond, but at 7:52, Dallas makes it 2-0. Sagan scores from Suter and Heiskanen. Philadelphia would answer. Farabee buries one from the side of the net. Brink and Cates with the assist at 10-12. A lot of the guys I had on the board this morning that didn't have any points got points today, so I like to think it helped a little. Anyways, I had nothing to do with it. Flyers press to tie. The shots are 14-6 for the Flyers with 7 minutes left. We then get a power play for the Stars, and it was not good. Konechny scores shorthanded from Cates at 18:38, and then the Flyers finish the kill. So it's 2-2 after one. Third period. 30 seconds in, Rope Hintz scores from Robertson and Pavelski. So Robertson on the board there, that's good. He's been off to a bit of a slow start. Flyers look to answer. They press at 2.5 minutes. Sanheim has a blast, that deflects out. The Stars score, but it's waved off. It's no goal. Don't worry about it. Couturier is a net feed. That's held. The shots are 9-6 Philadelphia with 7 minutes left. That is a trend in this game. We get a power play for Dallas. Flyers just prevent a setup. That's killed off. 2:22 left. The Flyers get what would be their only power play of the game. That was killed off as well. So after 2 periods, the score's 3-2 for Dallas. Third period, Pavelski has a rush chance. That's held. Duchesne is denied in alone. The Flyers press at 4 minutes. The shots are 5-3 for Dallas at 7 minutes. Farabee knocks Johnston in the middle of next week. Somehow from next week, he comes back into the pass and he gets an assist on a goal by Ben at 10 minutes and 36 seconds. And then the Stars get a power play. Well, that's nice. They're up 4-2. They allowed a shorthanded goal earlier. What could possibly go wrong? Here we go. Konechny from Sanheim and Lawton at 11:58. It's on a rush. Good penalty kill. All right. Still a 1-goal lead. And then it's Sean Walker, shorthanded from Zamula at 12:45. And yep, that's on the same power play. So it's a tie game. They do finish the kill. The Flyers do. The Flyers press with 5 minutes left. Cates was denied. Wedgwood gets this one into overtime. Stars controlled early in the overtime. Hintz is denied on a rush. And then Pavelski at 2:13. He scores from Johnston. So Dallas wins this one 5-4. They're 3-0-1. Their record's good. The blown leads are starting to bother me, though. So Philadelphia 3-1-1 with the overtime loss. Philadelphia has nothing to hang their heads about in this one. Shots on net are 15-7 Philadelphia in the first, 14-8 Philadelphia in the second. The Flyers outshoot them 10-8 in the third. In the overtime, Dallas outshoots them 2-1, including the shot that matters. Final shots 40-25 Philadelphia. Power plays Philly 0-1. Dallas 0-3. The hits 19-10 in favor of Philly. Ersson saved 20 out of 25. and Wedgwood saved 36 out of 40. So Wedgwood was good tonight, even though he allowed 4 goals. All right, that being said, Columbus and Minnesota. This game just went absolutely nuts. It wasn't that way in the first either. So it's Merzlikins versus Gustafsson. Kaprizov fires one high on a rush. The shots are 3-1 Columbus, though, 3.5 minutes in. So Columbus came out looking to steal one here. Duhaime fires one wide on a rush. Things get pushy on a hold by Merzlikins. Eriksson X denied and close. And then Danforth buries a rebound. He's off to kind of a hot start, isn't he? Juracek and Olivier with the assists at 8:55. Jackets press with 9 minutes left. The Columbus Blue Jackets are up 8-6 in shots with 7.5 minutes left. Things get pushy on a hold by Gustafsson. Faber as a net feed, that's blocked. We get a power play for the Wild. That leads to 1 minute and 5 seconds of 4-on-4, and everything was killed off there. So it's 1-0 Columbus after 1. Second period, early edge for Columbus. Wild get pinned down at 2 minutes. There's a near miss for Fantilli, and then he hits a post on his next opportunity. So Adam Fantilli, definitely the chances are there. The teams then trade rushes. Foligno has a tip shot, that's saved. Columbus presses at 5 minutes. In fact, the shots are 8-1 in favor of the Blue Jackets at 6 minutes. Eventually, they score. Kent Johnson scores from Sillinger at 4:42. And I put right on the board here, Wild need to wake up. And then they score. Mermis scores from Johansson, or Johansson. It's Johansson now, I guess. And Eriksson Ek at 7:21. Jackets look to answer that. But at 8:15, Zuccarello scores from Hartman. So that ties the game up at 2. Power play for Columbus. Werenski has a screenshot. That goes wide. Power play's killed off. The Jackets press with 5 minutes left. The Wild get a power play. That's killed off. We're going to the third period with the score tied at 2. Wild press at 2.5 minutes. Eventually, they get a 1 to go ahead. Brodin scores from Eriksson Ek and Maroon at 4:42. And it goes off the top of Merzlikins' shoulder pad and in. So he almost saves it. Almost. Very close. Columbus presses at 7 minutes. Eventually, they score. It's Jenner from Werenski and Severson at 7:58. We then get a power play for the Wild. That's killed off. Columbus gets a power play. They score on it. It's Fantilli on the power play at 14:41. Provorov and Severson with the assists. So Columbus is ahead. Not for long. Johansson scores to tie it at 17:01. Maroon and Mermis with the assists. We're going to overtime. A lot of overtime tonight. Thankfully, the 7:30 game did not go to overtime. Kaprizov nearly ends it, and then at 3:07, Roslovic does. He scores from Goudreau. So Columbus goes into Minnesota and wins 5-4 in overtime. It's not the prettiest game, but it's a win. 3-2 is the record now for Columbus. Minnesota 2-2-1 on the season. The shots, 11-10 Columbus in the first. 22-6 Columbus in the second, 17-10 Columbus in the third, and they outshoot Minnesota 4-2 in the overtime. Final shots 54-28 for Columbus. Power plays, the Blue Jackets 1 for 3, Minnesota 0 for 3. The hits 14-8 for Minnesota. Merzlikins saves 24-28, and Gustafsson was good, saves 49 out of 54 in a losing cause. So, but it would have been worse, I think, if he hadn't been in there. All right, next up. Nashville and the San Jose Sharks. So this was the one game, and I'm just being completely transparent here, that I knew once I reached the third period, I could pay more attention to everything else than this, because by the time you reach the third period here, there's 10 games on. So it's about picking and choosing which games I'm following more closely. So it's Blackwood versus Saros. Remember the really good game Blackwood had against Colorado? His numbers have taken a bit of a dive since then. So early press by the Nashville Predators. Eklund then has a blast tipped wide. Ferraro has a shot that's held. The shots are actually 2-1 for the Sharks at 6.5 minutes. Good start on the road. Press by Nashville at 7 minutes. They end up drawing a power play, and they would score on it. Fagemo scores his first as a Nashville Predator from Nyquist and Carrier at 17:15. Nyquist continues putting up points when a lot of people would think, is Nyquist still playing? So he scores that one, and that's in his Preds debut for Fagemo. Sharks get a power play with 1:07 left. Duclair takes a puck to the ear. Duclair's got no luck to start the season. You get traded from Florida to San Jose, and you're not getting goals. Now you take a puck to the ear. So it's 1-0 Nashville after 1. Second period. Sharks cycle late. Power plays killed off, because remember there was 53 seconds left in that. Hurdles denied afterwards, but then at 2:08, Novak scores from Sherwood and Yossi. That makes it 2-0. And then they would score again. It's Sherwood from Evangelista and Barry at 2:18. So Sherwood gets a goal and an assist in 10 seconds. Sharks call a timeout. Right time to call a timeout. I will absolutely agree with that. We get a power play for Nashville. That's killed off. The Sharks get a power play after that. It is killed off as well. Cunnin had a fight with Sherwood. So Sherwood, goal, assist, and a fight. Gordie Howe hat trick. Congratulations to Sherwood. Pressed by Nashville, 7.5 minutes. Barabanov has a slot shot. That's held. I thought it was his best game of the season so far, Barabanov. But again, he's scoreless to this point in the season. Power play for Nashville, that's killed off, and then Barabanov is denied on a rush. So after 2 periods, it's 3-0, and I thought, is San Jose going to score 4? I don't need a magic 8 ball to know the answer's no. Third period, we get a power play for the Preds. They kind of put it away. It's Novak on the power play from Nyquist and Parson in at 2:47. Nice tic-tac-toe goal. Preds look to add another. There's a power play for Nashville. That's killed off. And then at 10:33, Hurdle buries a rebound to end the shutout bid for Saros. Ferraro and Knizhov with the assists. And then at 13:26, Evangelista scores from Fabro. Yossi had a nice net drive. That was saved. But in the end, your score is 5-1. Nashville evens the record at 3-3. For San Jose, they're winless. 0-4-1 to start the season. Shots on net, 11-9 San Jose in the first, 13-12 San Jose in the second, 13-8 Nashville in the third. Final score, final shots, 34-32 for Nashville. Power plays, 0-2 for San Jose, 2-5 for Nashville. Hits, 15-11 for Nashville. Blackwood saved 29 out of 34. Saros saves 31 out of 32. So, again, Nashville gets back to 500, and we'll see if they can build from there. Next up is Pittsburgh and St. Louis. So I'm wearing blues because tonight they look like they can score. And I felt like, it's kind of nice to see St. Louis getting some goals, unless you're a Pittsburgh fan. So it's Jarry versus Bennington in this one. Early press by the Pens. There's a near miss for Malkin. There's a post for Krug on a 3-on-2. The Penguins press at 3 minutes. Blues are blocking them out. Shots are 4-2 for the Pens at 6.5 minutes. Penguins would press at 9 minutes. But then St. Louis, the puck goes the other way, and on their third shot, they score. It's Sod from Thomas and Kyrou at 9 minutes and 33 seconds. 2:12 left, the Blues get a power play. That's killed off. And then Malkin comes out of the box. They weren't ready for him. And on a breakaway, he scores from Letang at 19:55. So that's a tough goal to allow with 5 seconds left. And it makes the score 1-1 after 1. Second period, Sod's denied early. The Blues press at 4 minutes. Sod was denied again. It's cleared out. And then Neighbors, he scores from Kapanen and Falk at 5:39, makes it 2-1, and then an insurance goal is added by Parayko from Toropchenko and Sundqvist at 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Kyrou has a 2-on-1 chance. That's broken. Then there's a near miss for Thomas. We get a power play for the Penguins, and that's killed off. We're going to the third period with the score 3-1 St. Louis. We get an early power play for the Blues. Penguins don't let them set up. They kill that off. Penguins then get a power play as well. Crosby has a shot this blocker to side. It's killed off, and the Blues clear it out. Penguins press with 9 minutes left, but at 15:13, Sod gets his second goal of the game. Kapanen and Thomas with the assist. So Thomas with a couple of helpers tonight makes it 4-1. Sundqvist then fires one high on a rush, and at 16:27 redeems Zohorna. Yep. He scores a goal for Pittsburgh from Eller and O'Connor. That makes it 4-2. That is as close as Pittsburgh gets. Your final score is 4-2. St. Louis 2-1-1 with the win. Pittsburgh drops to 2-3 with the loss. Shots on net. Favor Pittsburgh the whole way. 11-8 in the first, 12-9 in the second, and 10-4 in the third. Final shots 33-21 for the Penguins. Power plays both teams 0-2. The hits 21-9 for St. Louis. Jarry saves 17 out of 21. Bennington saves 31 out of 33 and continues with really strong stats to start the season. That being said, I need to change boards. All right, so bonkers. So 6 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, 9 games. 9 games. And then I'm looking at the schedule. I'm going, crap. Right, yeah, the Colorado game starts at 6. That's 10. And I thought, all right, so as long as it's not crazy. Anyways, so first period, we have Kochetkov versus Georgiev in this one. Good early back and forth. Chatfield and Makar were unfriendly because Chatfield with a hit that sends him to the box, and Makar letting him know, that's not cool, man. But that's killed off. Rantanen's then denied. Johansson with a near miss. The shots are 8-4 for the Abs with 6 minutes left. But Kokeniemi opens the scoring for Carolina. He scores from Nason and Drury at 16:09. He wired it in close. No chance for Georgiev there. 19.4 seconds left. The Abs get a power play, and they score on it. It's Johansson from McKinnon and Lehkonen in 1954, and it was a crowd at the front of the net. So good luck for Kochetkov on that, but it's 1-1 after 1. Second period, early jump for the Canes. There's a power play for Carolina. Bunting's denied. Georgiev holds. And then there's a shorthanded goal for the Avs. O'Connor splits the D, which is rare shorthanded. Cogliano with the assist on the O'Connor goal at 1:57. The Avs then finish the kill. Very important. Kane's press at 7 minutes. We get a power play for Carolina. Pretty aggressive penalty kill. Some chances for the Avs, but Burns would score on that power play from Orlov and Nason at 9:17. Bunting then gives them the lead at 10:42. He roofs it from in close. Natchez and Slavin with the assists. That lead does not last. Olofsson scores from O'Connor and Byram at 12:21. We then had a post for Rantanen. We get a power play for the Avs, and they score on it. It's Lehkonen from Johansson and Makar at 14 minutes and 10 seconds. And then just all this momentum towards Colorado. McKinnon scores from Lehkonen and Nichushkin at 15:57. With 3:51 left, the Canes get a power play. That's killed off. With 36 seconds left, the Avs get a power play. And it's roughly 10 seconds later when Rantanen's like, I'll do it. And he scores at 19:35 to make the score 6-3 after 2 periods. Third period, Bunting gets shaken up. Looked like his leg was hurt, but he was okay. Canes press at 2 minutes. There's a power play for the Avs. That's killed off. 3 shots. The shots are 4-1 for the Avs 6.5 minutes in. Canes get a power play. That's killed off. Drouin had a rush chance. That was held. And then Slavin would get one back for Carolina. Kotkaniemi and Jarvis with the assists at 12:26. So for Kotkaniemi, that's a goal and an assist for him tonight. The goalie pull happens with 3:05 left and nothing. They don't end up getting a goal on that. And Colorado stays perfect on the season. They are 5-0 with a 6-4 win. Carolina drops to 3-3 with the 6-4 loss. Shots on net, 12-6 Colorado in the first, 16-8 Carolina in the second, and 8-5 Colorado in the third. The final shots 28-27 for the Avalanche. Power plays, Carolina 1 for 5, Colorado 3 for 5. Both teams had 10 hits. Kochetkov 22 saves on 28 shots. There's a lot for Carolina to work on. This has been a really rough road trip for them. I do feel bad for them. I'm going to be interested to see if their play gets back into Carolina territory when they get home. Georgiev 23 saves on 27 shots at the other end. And I'm aware that Carolina's not playing with a full crew either. So there are reasons why Colorado's had a tough road trip. But this early in the season being 3-3, I don't think Brind'Amour is going to be all that happy with that. All right. Next up, the Jets. Boy, this looked like it was going to be ugly early, didn't it? So it's Hellebuck versus Skinner. The Oilers test Hellebuck right away, and eventually they score. It's Nurse. He gets his first of the season from McDavid and Draisaitl at 1:25. The Jets press for response. The shots are 4-1 for the Oilers at 3.5 minutes, and then they get a power play, and of course they score on it. It's Bouchard who makes it 2-0 from Draisaitl and McDavid at 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Ceci then has a screenshot that's held. You can feel like, wow, this could get really ugly. However, the Jets get a power play, and they score on it. It is Morrissey from DeMello and Barron at 10:18. Top shelf near the end of the power play. Dillon then fires one wide as the Jets look for the tie. Power play for the Oilers. That becomes a 4-on-4, and everything gets killed off. So it's 2-1 Oilers after 1. Second period, early press by the Jets. Connor has a shot that's held. We get a power play for Winnipeg. Connor has a wrist shot that's held again. Kyle Connor was all around the net tonight. Power plays killed off 3 shots. We then had a fight between Dillon and Kane. They get the extra 2 minutes for taking off their helmets before they fight. I don't have a problem with guys taking off their helmets before they fight, because you can break your hand on somebody's helmet or their visor. Or you can punch somebody's visor into their nose and do way more damage than otherwise. So I get why they did it. And I wouldn't be surprised if others do it as well. If both players take the helmet off, they both get the extra 2. Power play then for the Jets, which leads to some booing. That's killed off, though. McLeod has a net feed. That deflects out. The Jets go back to the power play. That was a no. Then there's a power play for the Oilers. Also a no. The Oilers power play, not quite an Oilers power play in tonight's game. There's another power play for the Oilers, and a very not Oilers-like thing happens. Nemesnikov, they catch Skinner coming out of the net. He comes out to try to race Iafallo. He doesn't win that. So he's not in the net at the time Nemesnikov deflects it in. Iafallo with the assist at 18:21. I think Jets fans are happy with Iafallo, aren't they? The Jets then finish the kill. It's 2-2 after 2. Third period. Fogle gets hurt in a collision with Lowry. It appeared he was all right after that. The Oilers press. They're kept to the outside. Hyman had a net feed. That's blocked. The shots are 1 apiece at 5.5 minutes. Things get punchy on a hold by Hellebuck. DeMello out there blocking shots, doing quite well. McLeod had a tip shot that goes out as the Oilers are pressing. Connor fires one wide as the Jets press, and McDavid ends up getting stapled to the bench to round out this game. It looked like it was probably his hip. We'll see. But he didn't play for the last little while in that third period, and he did not play in the overtime either. So in the overtime, the Jets control early. Scheifele's denied. There's turnovers both ways on this one. Ehlers has a shot that's blocked. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins couldn't bury one on a rush. Connor was denied on a rush opportunity as well. And then at 3:53, Scheifele tips one in. Morrissey and Connor with the assists. So the Oilers lose a 2-goal lead in this one and lose the game. It's rare for that to happen this year. I am tracking it. It's the first time it's happened to the Oilers. The Jets go to 2-3 with a much-needed victory. The Oilers drop to 1-3-1 with the loss. The shots on net in this one, 19-6 Edmonton in the first, 13-5 Winnipeg in the second, 13-4 Edmonton in the third. They are the only team in the league without a goal in the third period. 4-3 Winnipeg in the overtime. Final shots 40-27 for the Oilers. Power plays, Winnipeg 1 for 5, the Oilers 1 for 4. The hits 20-17 for the Oilers. Hellebuck saves 38 out of 40, and Skinner saved 24 out of 27. So again, big win for Winnipeg, and we'll see what the Oilers do next. All right, next up, Rangers in Seattle, the darkness game. So Quick versus Grubauer, there's a long delay at 109. The funny thing is, even though there's this long delay of what are we going to do, because the lights are kind of half out at one end of the rink, so they called Toronto, like, what do we do? What do we do? And so the decision was made that at the half of each period, you just have the goalie switch ends. Okay, so basically, that's what happened for the rest of the game. Those lights were not fixed. I don't know what happened. My favorite moment tonight might be that the JT Brown catches a puck, and he got a second puck. And so John Forsland's like, well, you can't keep the second one. And I think it was Eddie Olczyk that said, why don't you trade it for a light bulb? And I was like, you know what? Eddie won the night. So Eddie Olczyk, you win the night on commentary for saying he could trade a puck for a light bulb. Perfect, fantastic, because it was dark. So it was Quick versus Grubauer in this one. The referee talks to the NHL. They decided to do the switching of ends. So they play. The shots were 2-1 for the Kraken at 3.5 minutes. Panarin has a wrister. That's blocker aside. And then Schultz. It was a face-off win. It cycled as buried at 8:41. Dumoulin and Tolvanen with the assists. So Seattle goes up 1-0. Gaudreau then has a shot that's caught and held. The shots are 5-3 for the Rangers with 8.5 minutes left. And Panarin would score at 12:15 from Hedel. The Rangers then press with 3.5 minutes left. But after the first period, it is 1-1. Second period, Kraken had the lone shot on net 4.5 minutes in, if you can see it through the darkness. Power play for Seattle. It was weird on TV. You could see that at one end of the rink, it was significantly darker than the other. The players said they could see, but it definitely was a little distracting. Bjorkstrand's denied. Quick holds during a power play for the Seattle Kraken. It becomes 19 seconds of 5-on-3. The Rangers clear it out early. Schultz fires one high. The Rangers do survive that. They kill it off. And then they change the ends due to lights. And on the next shift, Kakko. The puck had gone in behind Grubauer, so he just went into the crease and pushed it in the net. Trouba and Miller with the assists at 13:02. Kraken pressed with 4 minutes left, but Lafreniere scores from Hedel at 17:59. So if you're a Rangers fan, some guys you'd like to see on the score sheet got there tonight. And Lafreniere roofs that one on a turnover. So it's 3-1 Rangers after 2. Third period, no Burakovsky, who got hurt earlier. So again, a lot of guys got hurt tonight. I'm sure there'll be a big news video today about everybody that got hurt in every game. I'm sure the comment section will be, why aren't you talking about this injury and that injury and this guy? It was 13 games. Anyways, so Kraken press at 2.5 minutes. Alexiak has a blast that saved. Quick holds to get a change. So the Rangers were pinned down for a while. Fox fires one high as the Rangers press, and then Panarin wires one from the slot. Hedel and Miller with the assists at 5.5 minutes. So that makes it 4-1. Dumoulin gets shaken up on a hit from Trocheck, which fans didn't like. And then Yanni Gourde. So there's a swing taken at him from the bench by Cooley, but I think he kind of initiated it. It's one of those things where the fact that a player on the bench interacts with a player on the ice, there's the possibility Department of Player Safety comes out with some kind of a fine for this tomorrow. Looks like all they did was just decide to throw out Kreider and throw out Gourde just to settle this down a little bit. But yeah, it's just one of those things. And back in the 80s, that would have led to bench clearing time. That would have been it, bench clearing time. So refs had a lot to work out, and they gave nothing to Cooley on the play. I guess they decided that his little jab wasn't really much of anything. Again, we'll see if Department of Player Safety agrees with them. So there's a power play for Seattle that leads to a shorthanded rush by VC. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1. Gaudreau has a shot that's held. That's killed off. The Kraken press with 4.5 minutes left. They're unable to score. They had all kinds of chances late. Just couldn't hit the net and just couldn't get that goal. Your final score is 4-1. The Rangers go to 3-2 with the victory. Seattle, very disappointing 1-4-1. So we're getting to that point now where it's not really early in the season. We're getting to that point now where it's like, okay, they got to start winning. So the shots on net in this one were not high. 9-8 Rangers in the first, 9-2 Rangers in the second, 9 each in the third period. Final shots 27-19 for the Rangers. Power plays the Rangers 0-1, Seattle 0-3. The hits 21-18 for the Rangers. Quick saved 18 out of 19. He was very good. Grubauer 23 saves on 27 shots. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens with Seattle next time out. All right, Boston. It's not pretty, is it? Like, the way Boston wins games just isn't pretty, but it works. So it's Swayman versus Talbot. There's a power play for the Kings. Kempe's denied on a net drive. The power play's killed off. The Kings press after. They're leading in shots 7-2, 6 minutes in. So they had lots of pressure early. McAvoy has a shot that's caught and held. They had a nice ceremony for Kopitar for him passing Dustin Brown's record for games played. They talked during this game, too, about, well, could Doughty catch him? Look, Kopitar's got to stop playing before Doughty can even think about catching him, and my answer to that would be no, because by the time Kopitar's done being a King, he's going to be too far ahead of Doughty for Doughty to catch him. I think they probably retire at the same year. Bruins press at 9.5 minutes. There's a near miss for Zacha as the Bruins press. The Bruins end up drawing themselves a power play with their pressure, and they score on it as Pasternak, who now has, 5 goals in 4 games? He's pretty good. Marchand with the assist at 13:08. It only took 12 seconds. Marchand's got a real chip on his shoulder, too. Kings press to respond. 1:49 left. There's a 4-minute power play for the Bruins. McAvoy has a shot that's kicked aside. It's cleared out. Power play rolls over into the second period. The Kings, to their credit, they finish the kill. Power play for LA follows that. There's a shorthanded 3-on-2. Marchand's denied. The power play's killed off. Shots are 4-1 for the Bruins at 6 minutes. And then Laferriere finally gets his first NHL goal. Takes 5 games, but he gets it. Dubois and Fiala with the assists at 6:21. It was that nice ping off the post and in. It was nice, but, I mean, I didn't want him to get the goal against Boston. Anyways, it's his first NHL goal. Kudos to him for that. He's earned it. Kings then look for the lead. They end up drawing a power play. Dubois tips one wide. They cycle. It's killed off. And then Geekie scores from Lucic and Forbert at 14:44. Following that, Frederick had a fight with England. Things get pushed in a hole by Talbot. And then at 15:33, Marchand. He scores from Pasternak and Forbert. That makes it 3-1. It was a face-off win. It's a 5-hole goal, and it kind of went in off Kopitar too, so Kopitar went over to his goalie to kind of say, yep, whoops, sorry. So it's 3-1, go into the third period. We get a power play for Boston. It becomes 59 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. We have a post for Grzelcyk. Kempe and Byfield are denied and close. The Kings press at 7.5 minutes. There's a post for Byfield on a rush chance. Quiet crowd as the Bruins are really trapping late, really just suffocating the game. This is how Boston plays this year. Again, it's not the prettiest hockey, but it seems to be effective. No sustained press by the Kings. They'd end up pulling the goalie with 3:38 left, and Marchand hits the empty net. Pasternak and Zacha. Actually, it wasn't the empty net. Nope. And I knew I was going to say it too, and I'm apologizing. They had to put the goalie back in. Marchand scored on Talbot because they had to have the goalie back in there. Pasternak and Zacha with the assist at 17:48. That's Zacha's first point this season. And Marchand had a little chirp for the bench on his way by. I don't know what was going on during the game, but he threw 2 words towards somebody on that bench. So that made it 4-1. With 1:24 left, Frederick goes to the box. They initially gave him 5 minutes. It was a cross-check to the face. Now, he glanced off the shoulder and into the face, so they lowered it to 2. Honestly, if the Department of Player Safety comes out tomorrow and says, we're suspending him for a game or 2, I don't know that I can argue that down. I thought it was a stupid play with less than 2 minutes left in the game. I thought an extra 2 minutes for being dumb would have worked in that situation, at the very least. You know, you get 2 and another 2 for what are you thinking? That should be, what are you thinking is the penalty. Because it was a blatant cross-check, I thought, to the face. So, if you're a Kings fan, like, he's a Bruins fan, he's probably, no, I agree with you, it's blatant. So, Grundstrom scores during the power play from Roy and Lewis at 18:56. But that's as close as LA gets. So your final score is 4-2. The Bruins stay perfect, 4-0 in the season. LA 2-2-1 with the loss. Shots on net 14-10 LA in the first, 13-11 LA in the second, 7-4 LA in the third. Yeah, Boston just took the air out of the game in the third period. Final shots 34-25 for LA. Power plays, Boston 1 for 4, LA 1 for 6. Hits 28-17 Boston. Swayman saves 32 out of 34. What a goaltending duo they have. And Talbot saved 21 out of 25 at the other end. So there you go. All done for tonight, minus power rankings. So power rankings will be going up later. I would imagine most of you will already be in bed. If you're not already, a lot of people will be watching this in the morning. But hey, that's how it works on a Saturday. At least Sunday and Monday are quiet days. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for any reason that you choose to hit like and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.